really smart
All right, we
answer.
have pelican and pigeon.
Yeah.
Okay, you got it?
Yep.
3, 2, 1. Howdy.
Hey,
Welcome back.
how you doing?
Hope you're having a great week.
You all right?
Good to see you. All right, well, this week we had a lot to talk about.
Yeah.
So why don't we dive in, shall we?
Shall we?
Hey, this is your first time watching. This is the Open Water Podcast. The goal of this is to go a little bit deeper than we would typically go on a Sunday. Not that we don't go deep on Sundays, we go very deep on Sundays. But for this purpose, we talk about things that we may not have the time to talk about on a Sunday. And we have a lot of fun along the way. Expand on it. With that said, let's get into favorite things.
Yeah, let's start it off strong. What's your favorite thing this week?
New sheets.
Oh,
Yeah, there's something really nice about crisp, new, clean sheets.
what kind of count we talking?
I don't know. My wife went to Target and bought them, and I grew up with like the $12 cotton sheets that you take to college with you. And she said, "We're adults. Let's get nice sheets." And I said, "Okay." And so we got nice sheets, and I sleep tremendously better. They are cooling sheets. So
It's turning into an infomercial.
I don't know what brand they are. I don't know what thread count. I'm not promoting the product.
I sleep
but
great
I just
now.
like even like
I've never slept
even
better.
when, like sheets are fresh out of the dryer.
Oh, yeah.
I just love. There's like a few things like if you could have like one luxury, like mine would either be a new pair of socks, like never have to rewear socks, never have to like brand new out of the package, put them on the first time, or new sheets every time I go to bed.
Wow,
Like brand new sheets.
it's a fun game.
Right? What would yours be?
Yeah, I guess sheets. Good point when you frame it that way.
Or a towel.
Ooh, warm towel.
Like like a never remotely damp towel, like just brand new fresh towel every time you take a shower.
I feel like our standards are low. We need to aim a little higher.
Or they're realistic,
That's a spirit.
perspective, living a life of gratitude. What's your favorite thing for the week?
That's a good one. All right, I'm going to take the time this week, as I could every week, but this week in particular, I'm thankful for my sweet. She's out there right now. I'll introduce you later. The 2003 Honda Civic, sandstone in color, with a dynamite horse license plate. You are the real deal this week. I found out that I went to bring it to an oil change, and turns out there's a lot more wrong with her. Oil gasket, oil pan's cracked.
Wait, hang on. So the car that you said was mint and perfect. You
It is.
only done oil changes. There's nothing ever wrong with it. Actually, has
It is perfect.
terrible problems underneath the hood.
No.
You've never gotten inspected.
Well,
Weird.
you call them problems, I call them opportunities.
That's the spirit. Perspective.
Yeah, but the mechanics were like, oil should be, in his words, pouring out. But it's just a little trickle, all thanks to,
blub, 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 oil situation.
my trusty 03 Civic. Shout
So I'm
out.
confused. So you were saying you love it, but it's like failing?
What do you mean?
It's breaking,
failing?
it's breaking down, and you're like, I have to do a bunch of work on it, but you're like, it's
Failing?
that's favorite things. Hey, we got some Q's and A's.
Q's and A's.
Q's and A's.
Questions have rolled in. Thank you for bringing in those questions. First one comes from Nathaniel. Shout out, Nathaniel. Thank you for your question.
What?
It's a good one.
It is.
He says, a little late in the season now, but is there any specific reason the church wasn't prompted to participate in Lent this year? It's an invitation to corporately participate in Lent and fasting as a church, something to call the church to in the future.
Yeah.
Lent.
Lent. Lent is awesome.
I agree.
For those who don't know, Lent is 40 days prior to Easter, and you take time to fast from typically something, food.
Yeah, every denomination does it a bit differently. If you grew up Catholic, you probably grew up participating in Lent. It's a strongly held tradition.
Yeah, tradition, 100%. And I think Lent is a powerful, powerful tradition, to be honest. But I do think it is a tradition. And I think where we were at this year going through John, I think we were just kind of a different place. And I think if we were to charge our church to actively participate in the discipline and the tradition of Lent, I think it would take a little bit of winding up to that. I don't think it'd be something that's like, oh, it's time to do Lent. It's not currently in our traditions. It doesn't mean it wouldn't be in the future. I actually pray and hope and look forward to it being in our traditions in the future. But we're also in a season of people who've come from Catholic backgrounds, different backgrounds, and they're trying to navigate kind of their place with certain traditions. And I think we're always trying to assess like what's the highest and loudest voice that's going to point people to Jesus this season, this moment. And I hope to participate in Lent in the future as a church. But for now, we didn't. And I think it is going to require some teaching and some attention. And I would never just want to be like, we're doing it and kind of like half-heartedly put our church into it, but create an opportunity for people to like understand it and do it.
Yeah.
And so, but this season in particular, where we're at with John, I didn't see it matching up.
Yeah, I didn't really.
But looking to next year, where we're most likely going to be in John, a year from now, I really am already starting to see some correlation of where that would tie together.
Yeah.
Realistically, we will be at the crucifixion and the resurrection in the book of John a year from now. And so my goal is that we are working through John all the way up to the point where we're there and tying Lent into that, and really giving it the appropriate attention that I think it deserves.
Yeah, I think it's an awesome spiritual
Yeah.
discipline
Yeah.
and an exercise for people to take on in general.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things that I don't think if you didn't grow up with that being practiced around the house, it's can be kind of a nuanced thing, but very powerful.
Yeah. Have you ever done it?
Yeah, I do. I'm participating in that this season.
Oh, no way.
Actually.
Let's go.
Yeah, I decided to give up my it sounds silly, but my YouTube app.
Yeah.
For this 40 days.
There you go.
Just take that time that I would usually spend on there to be focused on other things.
Yeah. That's awesome. I did it last year. I gave up, I did like the Daniel fast for Lent last year. And so it was like no meat, just basically it's vegetables and fruit and just kind of what's required to remain functioning. And so, but I'll never forget that Chipotle bowl after it ended. It was great. So, yeah, good question, man. For real, I love your heart of just like the idea of Lent and participating as a church. I think it's a really, really good discipline, really important tradition.
Great idea.
And so stay tuned.
Yeah, we'll look into that hopefully next year. All right, another question. Anonymous question. What's your favorite part of The Chosen so far? I know new ones are coming out in theaters.
Yeah.
Now.
Yeah.
Coming to.
I heard they were great. I heard they were great from a couple people. They told me that it's awesome. My favorite part of The Chosen so far was, oh man, I gotta say that first episode, like really, when Jesus approaches Mary and calls her by name, I was like ugly crying, like uncontrollably, and I don't like I cry, because I have daughters and stuff, but like I don't know, there was something about like the compassion. I think it's like there's this like aspect of The Chosen that shows like just an empathetic picture of Jesus, which I know is to be true. So I think we see it all throughout the Gospels, but there was something about the interaction with her where he called her by name, and I was just like, oh my gosh, dude. Like I just, it healed something within me. Like it just felt like, I don't know, I can't explain it, but yeah, that was mine. Ooh, what's yours? We're only in season what? We're halfway through
3.
2.
Yeah,
we're halfway through 2.
halfway through 2. Yeah, we're catching up.
Yeah.
Gosh, it could be a lot of parts. I think the one I felt the most was when Jesus calls Nicodemus to join the disciples, and they do it really artistically, where Nicodemus like leaves the group some money, but is like kind of peering around the corner, and ultimately decides he can't give up what he has.
He holds his tradition over following.
Yeah, and it's just a real powerful, like, it probably will cost you something. And for the better. Yeah.
Dude, great question. Yeah, even the episode we watched last week where I was kind of like, I don't know if I like this episode. This was the first one that seemed off, and then they tied it together like perfectly. It came together. And I was like, oh man. But yeah, I don't know. I'm a big fan of TV shows that are well written and like beautiful cinematography, and this one it consistently exceeds my expectations. And I think they do a great job with it. And I know it's like the most pastory thing I'll say like in this episode, I think, but like it's a great depiction of the story, and it's cool. I've talked to some people who even said in our church like, hey, I saw this and like started watching. It's really cool. But the super win is when they're like, it's actually brought me to reading my Bible consistently. And I'm like, that's the goal. Like that is so cool. So
Thank you, Dallas. Dallas Jenkins.
Mr. Dallas Jenkins. So shout out to them.
Appreciate you. Big fan of the podcast.
Yeah.
Dallas Jenkins.
Yep.
Shout out.
There he is.
All right. let's move on.
All right, we're doing a new segment. Truck stop treats. It
had its time.
It hurt our teeth. It was too much sugar, too much fudge. So we're done with that. So we're going to do a new segment called Same Word Game. It's a very popular game. But the goal is that we're both going to say a word, and our goal is to say the same word. And if it's ideally not in like 75 tries. And so we'll shout a word, and then we try to match them up, and we can't say words we already said.
Until we've said the same word.
Yep.
That's how we
Yep.
win. All right.
All right, you ready?
Here we go.
Got a word?
Yeah, will we get a countdown from off camera?
3,
2, 1.
statue.
Muffins.
Oh,
Yeah, okay.
okay. All right, ready?
Yeah.
3, 2, 1. Pelican.
Pigeon.
What are you doing? You have a statue of pelican right here.
That would have been really
Oh,
smart.
no.
That would have been really smart.
We
answer.
have pelican and pigeon.
Yeah.
Okay, you got it?
Yep.
3, 2, 1. Bird. Nailed
We
it.
win.
Wow.
We won.
Wow, that's new record. New
We
record.
won.
Is that 3, 4, 4, 3?
That's pretty good.
3. I don't think we'll ever beat that. Maybe one day we'll come in here and say the same word off the bat. That'll be the one.
Maybe we should start, I don't know.
Just like
Yeah, connecting
ESPN.
through thought.
Yep, that's it.
Yeah.
That went way faster than I thought. I thought we were going to be here for like 20
I know. Wow,
minutes.
great.
We're crushing it.
We'll reconsider that segment for next week.
Yeah,
Anyway, next segment. Let's move into Sunday.
I love it. Sunday. Sunday.
Let's chat. We're still in John 6.
We are.
We're getting to the latter half of John 6, where he continued Jesus' teaching about bread.
Yeah.
We're located in Capernaum in a synagogue. So the people are gathering
Yeah.
to hear Jesus teach. And we broke the passage. We were in verses 41 through 59.
Yep.
In chapter 6, we broke this section down into 3 parts. When I'm discontent, Jesus corrects. We talked about how grumbling is the enemy of gratitude.
yeah.
Part 2, when I'm confused, Jesus brings clarity. We talked about sometimes we live into confusion and we choose to not ask for clarity. Or on the other side, we might not face the clarity that we've already received or been revealed to us. And then the third was when I hear, Jesus calls me to respond, where we've perhaps seen and heard or tasted the things of Jesus, but will we respond with our hands?
That's it.
And I want to double back to the second one.
Okay.
When I'm confused, Jesus brings clarity, because I really liked how you framed the two sides that
Sure.
they can often slip by really easily if we're not careful. Why do we avoid seeking clarity in our lives? There's a couple different parts, but what comes to mind when you hear that? Why do we avoid seeking clarity?
Yeah. I believe Irenaeus said it. He said, the glory of God on full display as a human fully alive. And I think when we go back to the garden, we see sin enter the world through them eating the fruit that God told them not to. The first thing they do is they hide. First thing. And he's like, where are you? And like, God knows where they are, but it's more of like, it's the revealing of hiding. And I think people, when we do fall into sin, or even we don't want to like embrace who God designed us to be and to like kind of like step into obedience and like following Jesus, our first inclination, consciously or subconsciously, is to hide. And we hide the truth, we hide our failures, our shortcomings, our past, whatever, fill in the blank with whatever it is.
We hide in other stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the thing about clarity is like, and it's funny because like, obviously God's word says like, when I'm weak, you are strong. And it's like, it's acknowledging the areas that we fall short. Cause like the only perfect person was Jesus, right? All God, all man, without flaw. And so often everyone tries to posture that they have it together. Like they're like, oh, I'm the perfect, well-rounded human being with no shortcomings. And a lot of times it's just posturing over and over again. And I think with clarity, it's like, it is an owning of like the things you aren't good at. And that's like a hard pill to swallow, I think sometimes, like of just like, man, I'm not the best at this. I'm not the most patient. I'm not kind sometimes. And or whatever that thing is for you. And so I think with clarity, in particular, sometimes we don't ask for clarity because it's like we know what's going to be required of that. And I think we're just like, oh man, I'd rather live in the fog and in the mess than face the clarity that could possibly come out of this, because with that comes growth. We're going to say, I'm curious.
Oh no, going to add, does this rub up to like the concept of willful blindness, where like
100%.
Yeah, not knowing the things that we ought
Yeah.
to know.
Yeah. Yeah. Like even in conversations, people are like, man, I just seem to be on this rut of like this thing over and over and over again. And it's like, well, what does it look like to get out of that? Like, oh, I don't know. And you're like, well, it may require some active discipline. And I think we've seen in the world this push towards self-expression and freedom. And I don't remember who said it, but they're like freedom is within, like, living within some parameters still. Like, complete freedom is actually slavery, right? Like, it's like, you do whatever I want. And you're like, that's not a good thing either. Like, because it's like, it's too many things. And we have, like, our limitations are actually sometimes a gift. And I think that's true with clarities, is like kind of being like, hey, I want to like own the things that I can do and seek God in all of it. And hopefully he gives me the strength and the courage and the power to walk in his ways and help me grow. But yeah, I think asking for clarity is that first step. And then to be like, it's like, once the box is open, you can't put it back in the box kind of deal with sometimes. It's like, oh, like this is going to require having some hard conversations, like repenting of some things, turning from some things. And that's just like scary, I think, sometimes. And yeah, I think that it's an important journey, but it's a hard journey.
Yeah. Can you talk more about how we seek clarity? What are ways we can go about seeking clarity?
I think one that's like really, really important, and I've been really conscious and intentional and graced to have these people in my life, is like, you should have a truth teller in your life, like someone who will like lovingly know you and love the Lord and like love your relationship with the Lord and have the courage and space to be able to be like, hey, this is like not, I see this in you. This is not a good thing. And so for me, like I have several people, my brother's one of them, who's just like quick to be like, hey, you seem like you're like more short fused than normal. What's going on here? And like, and I have to have the receptiveness to receive that. Because I think there's some people who just say things off the cuff and you're like, you don't actually have the authority or influence or the relationship to like say that to me. But there should be people in your life who are like, hey, this person can actually speak to like my life at the deepest level, and I should be sensitive enough to hear it. I may disagree with it. I may not like it, but like at least hear it. And I think that's a great way. I think a lot of people try to, again, hide from those people sometimes, that they're just like, nope, I don't have anybody. I can do whatever I want. No accountability, no authority to speak into your life. And I think it's a really dangerous road to have no one be able to speak into like the deepest areas of your life. I think that's a great, like accessible thing to pursue clarity.
All right. Maybe, from the other side then, like, how do I know that, are there some like markers, like, not having anyone in my life that's a truth teller, where I can tell that I'm perhaps living into confusion?
Yeah. I think it is like, I don't want to make this a cliche, but I think the Bible speaks this very clearly. It's like, we are to pray, right? And I think, again, I talked about it in this podcast of like, have you taken committed time to pray? And if the answer is no, I think you should start there. And then if you're like, hey, I've committed this to prayer and I'm still unsettled, then I do think it is like, hey, talk to somebody like who can tell you the truth, right, wrong, and different. And if you're still living in confusion, I do this thing occasionally where like I kind of map out like the situation. I'll like get a piece of paper and I'll like put it, like, it's dumb, but like I draw a circle of like the thing that really is like going on. And then I try to like stem out of like, why is this weighing on me? Why is this like a burden? Why am I losing sleep over this? And I'll be like getting to kind of put just different things, and I'll kind of just like
work the pattern back to the origin.
Yeah. And then I think I tend to find it's like, oh, this stems from this.
Yeah.
And I think we often address like the behavior rather than the motive or the heart behind the behavior. Behaviors are easy to measure, right? It's like, wow, you're really upset. And you're like, what's the heart behind the behavior that's causing you to be upset or short fused or whatever? And then you can begin to have that conversation like, oh, like there's actually a wound here or a hurt here or something that was never addressed. And yeah, I think self-awareness is something that isn't talked about a ton in the spiritual space and churches in general enough, because I think it feels a little like my truth, your truth stuff, which it's not the case. I think the Bible, Jesus is always telling people like, hey, like trust in the Lord, like navigate these things, like look, again, Jesus is always calling them to like look deeper. And I just think sometimes we're like, nope, I'm good. I'm like, and we're like, they're like drowning. But yeah, I think that's how we pursue clarity, I think.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, I think so.
All right.
That's all. That's all for John. We're going to stop for a minute. We're going to get through, we're going to celebrate Easter together, Good Friday.
For the next 2 weeks.
Palm Sunday, Easter. That's out of order, but Palm Sunday, Good Friday, Easter, and then we'll be back in John chapter 6, talking about eternal life.
Yeah. Can't wait.
It's going to be great. It's going to be great. All right, let's hit our final segment of the day. Ready? Noah's Ark.
Everyone's favorite. You know it. You love it.
That's it. Pick 2 of your favorite things that is listed in the category. If you only can take 2, what are you going to take? So let's hear from our wonderful production team
that we trust.
Coffee shop
orders.
Orders. Love that. All right, go ahead.
I have an interesting relationship with caffeine. We're kind of on again, off again, hot and cold. I'd say my favorite coffee order is like cold brew, black, as mean and toe curling as you can make it.
Great.
Yeah.
But you can't drink that because you have a bad relationship with caffeine.
Right.
So
right now we're off.
All right.
Caffeine.
I drink regular black hot coffee every day, and that's intentional. I like it. I like the notes of the coffee.
The notes.
I worked at a coffee shop for a long time, and I don't know, it might be snooty, but I like regular black coffee. Maybe it's the opposite of snooty. Maybe it's just like super normal.
Pure.
It's pure.
Yeah.
So it's my turn again, right?
That's correct.
I really like, I'm going to do a dirty chai. I'm a dirty chai. Yep. It's between that or matcha, but I like chai more than I like matcha, I think. And I like the taste of just a little bit of coffee in my chai. It's just, I typically, if I get an ice to drink, that's what I'll do. It's just delightful.
I barely heard what you said because I just kind of had a blackout memory just now. When I used to ride my bike to Dairy Queen circa middle school years.
Okay.
And I would get the
Cool latte?
moo lattes.
Moo lattes. Okay, yeah. They changed them to cool lattes.
Yeah, they're coffee, iced coffee.
Those were delicious.
More ice cream than it was coffee.
Those were
But, like,
delicious.
if I'm going for it, that's either like I'm having the best day of my life or a cry for help.
Yeah, that's like rocket fuel.
Yeah.
I remember there was also, dude, speaking of rocket fuel, there was this thing at Dunkin'. They stopped doing it. It was called the Monster Energy Punch. And I thought it was hilarious because it was like a play on a word because it was like punch. They didn't make, and so they would take a Monster can and they'd put it in a cup, and then they'd do strawberry or raspberry syrup, like 6 like pumps of it, and that was like I remember having a few of those when I was like much younger. And I remember like, you can feel the caffeine like in your teeth, like that's just like, oh my gosh! Like,
does it come in kid sizes?
No, it doesn't. It comes in the biggest size they have.
Yeehaw.
It was crazy, and so I think the last time I had it was when I did a youth all nighter, and I was just like, time to fuel up, and I was like, and since then I also have been decreasing my caffeine drastically. So
there comes an age, I think.
Yeah, just gotta be wise. Gotta be wise.
Yeah.
That's it. So, all right. Well, that's this episode of Water Podcast.
Good stuff.
Thanks for being here. Appreciate you guys. This week, we're really excited to have Pastor Igor preaching on Palm Sunday. It's going to be excellent. And so it's going to be a really good Sunday. So with that said, let me pray.
And hey, if you think of it, though, throughout the week, our friend here needs a name. So something inspires you this week, shoot us a comment.
I like Barry. Let me pray. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for today. Thank you for this time, God. Thank you for these conversations and the questions and the thoughtfulness, God. I pray that we be people who reflect you in what we do, what we say. And God, just thank you for Jesus. We pray for our church. Keep them safe. Keep them healthy, God. Let's just be people who reflect you. We praise you in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
See you next time.
Great week. Remember, I like Barry.